Welcome to the NLP UK Training podcast. I'm Kelly Fraser.
And I'm Steve Kay.
And today we're going to talk about how do we get momentum to start to build the lives, the careers, get the things that we want to get and have the lives that we want to have. So how do we do it? Because, I want this big, big life. And that seems so far away from where I am now, Steve. So how do I make that happen now?
I'm being excited.
And this is the thing, you can want really big things, but sometimes it's not about that instant gratification. You can't have everything right now. You can have some things right now, but not everything that you want right now. That's a harsh reality. So if you're a long way from where you want to be, what do you need to do?
It's almost like if you're on a boat and you want to change direction, you only have to alter the wheel by 1 degree, don't you? And in 50 miles, you'll be in a completely different destination from where you were 1 degree away.
So it's not actually about turning the wheel 90 degrees. It's just one single degree.
So if I didn't have 4 biscuits at night and cut down to 0 biscuits, I wouldn't notice losing a lot of weight by tomorrow, would I?
No, absolutely.
But in 6 months' time, I might notice that. If I wrote a couple of pages every week towards our new book, that's not many, is it?
No.
But it's 2 pages more than I wrote last week and 2 pages more than I wrote the week before. And if you did the same, we'd have 20 pages written, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
In a month, which would get us a lot further than not doing 1 page at all, wouldn't it? I know that's a daft example, but
it's so true. So many people want those instant results. And when they don't see the instant results, they kind of give up.
Yeah.
But actually, that's a point where you've just got to keep going. Small actions, that little 1% different every single day, that 1 degree difference over time will mount up. So you see so many people starting the gym in January, New Year's resolutions, let's go to the gym. By the middle of January, end of January, you start seeing them dropping off. By the 1st of February, virtually none of those people that start in January are still coming because they haven't seen those instant results.
Can I tell you a story? There was a learning development manager who worked for one of our corporate clients years ago. And she said to me, Steve, I do all this internally, like you do. I've learned some good stuff from you and I've got some good stuff of my own. And we do brilliant programs internally, but I don't know how to one day I'd like to be doing what you're doing, where you're doing your own thing. I'd kind of like that if I could. So I said, well, have you got any local colleges around you? She said, yeah, there's a couple of colleges in the area. And I said, well, how about you go and check out if they've got any business departments where they might run some management courses. And you could maybe do an hour a week in an evening or something like that using your material. And it would get you used to doing something outside of your day job, your day career. And who knows where that might lead to. So that's just an example of a shift of 1 degree. We're not saying hand your notice in. We're just saying do 1 evening class a week where you can try stuff out and see whether it works and, get a measure of how well you do it. And that'll grow your confidence massively. And if once you've done it for a year or so, you might see other opportunities you hadn't seen before. You could do a similar thing.
And I think so many people put themselves under so much pressure to do everything right now. We live in quite a pressurized world where it is that you see things on Facebook or Instagram and people are doing all the things that you want to do and it looks so perfect.
Well,
but
don't get me started.
So what we're seeing is that lens of someone doing one thing, but that isn't their whole life. You're not seeing the journey that it took them to get
Tell
to
this
that
person a
place.
story about you doing a podcast thing, where not a podcast, but a reel, whatever you call it, where you actually did a shoot with your phone, but prior to that, you'd like broken your heel or something, and they hadn't seen it. So what you see when you see someone sat by the bar in Dubai, by the swimming pool in swimming costume, with their perfect eyebrows and their, you know, their brown, you know, fake tan and stuff. You only see the bit where they're doing that. You don't see the bit before that, where they've got to have things set up and get everything right. They might have just had a row with their boyfriend or something. You don't see any of that. As Paul McGee says, the greener grass on the other side is usually fed by someone else's bullshit.
Absolutely. I mean, a great example of that was September last year. My daughter lives in Nassau, and we'd gone out to see her end of September. Never, ever visit the Caribbean at the end of September because it's hurricane season. So we weren't going out on holiday. We were going to spend time with her. But we arrived in a big tropical storm. Within a few hours, the airport was shut. There was 10 inches of water on all the roads. They were having pump trucks pump all the water off the roads. We couldn't go out. It was torrential.
You don't see that on the holiday brochures, do you?
But the one thing I posted on a little glimmer of sunshine, I went down to the pool, and I posted on our Facebook and Instagram a little picture of Steve's book, me sitting by the pool reading Steve's book. But that wasn't the reality of the whole thing. So remember that what you see on socials isn't always what's going on behind the scenes. But again, if we take that one example, you know, to get me to go out to see Gabby, you know, I had to do all the work before that. I had to take all those 1% steps. I had to book the flights. I had to save for the flights. I had to pack the suitcases. I had to travel down to Heathrow. I had to go through all the airport. I had to sit on that plane in a scrunched up economy seat for nearly 9 hours. But again, these are all the things that you don't see.
I tell you what, we've got a couple of delegates who, you know, we've been doing some coaching with, and they say, "Oh, look, you know, everyone's doing better than me. Everyone's doing this. Everyone's doing that," and I'm not doing anything. I'm not achieving what I want to do to change my career and launch and do more with my coaching training business. And I said, "Well, what do you mean everyone's doing better than you are?" "Well, I'm following such and such person." "What do you mean you're following them? What, around Tesco's?" No, I'm following their posts." "Oh, right, okay, so you're following their posts. Have you been on Companies House and seen how their accounts are?" "Oh, no, but they look like they're doing better than me." And what we've done is we've suggested, look, just start small. You ran an event last month and it worked really, really well, didn't it? You did it on Sunday and you had 4 people turn up or 5 people turn up. Yeah, but some of those were my friends. There were only 3 people that weren't my friends. Okay, but, you know, those 3 people, they'll probably come back when you do another event because it went really well, you said. Yeah. And they carried on. This is a true story, actually. And they carried on running those kind of events and building up that momentum just by taking that 1% shift of the dial. You know, doing one Sunday every 2 months or one Sunday or Saturday every month isn't very much, but it soon builds up momentum. You talked about compound interest, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Just for those people who don't know what compound interest is, it's like you invest £1 and then the returns it makes, you add that onto your original £1 and it goes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so you're earning interest on the interest. That's all it is. But it's the same when you take action. You will earn interest on every single
And it doesn't
action
grow
you
very
take.
much at first, but after a while, it really starts compounding. So it gets bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you're not just running one session every Sunday, you're running 12
Absolutely.
and getting stuff from it. So that 1% is all we're suggesting that we start with.
So our big tip for you from this podcast is take the pressure off. You don't need to do everything right now. You will get there. just move the dial that 1 degree and set your sails.
I've got my mouth open here because I want to say something. And don't compare yourself to other people.
Yeah,
because it's fake.
Yeah. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter what someone else is doing because they're not you.
Exactly.
Take the steps that you need to take to get where you want to go. And the more that you take those little small steps, the closer you'll get. So that's it from us for today. So we'll see you on our next podcast. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. See you soon.